Okay, right out the gate on this pagan Sunday, we about to seek the mission that we've been on, and that is to tear Satan's kingdom down so that Israel can rise as a nation. And so we're going to start right here at the very beginning in the 12th chapter of the book of Genesis, where the Father had made Abraham a promise that I'm going to make you great. I'm going to make a great nation out of you, and I'm going to make your descendants as the sands of the sea and as the stars in heaven, and you're going to be the father of a many nations. And so what we're going to do, we're going to look at some of the things that's transpiring in the earth right now, that there is an earthly word for it. It is called phenomenon, and that is where something's taking place that it's destined to take place, but you can't quite put your finger on how it's going to happen, and you don't fully understand it because it's on a spiritual and a miraculous level. And so that's what we want to look at. And then we also want to look at how not only our enemies have been on a mission to thwart the purpose of the Father concerning that prophetic promise. We also going to look at how even some of our own brothers have slipped into a place of ignorance and don't even realize that they are thwarting the purpose as well. So when the children of Israel went into Egypt, Pharaoh came up and he said, listen, he said, these people are growing at such a rapid pace. You understand? I don't know what's going on. It's without understanding, but I know one thing. We have to find a way to stop them. So I would like to believe that according to the Father's purpose, he started doing something miraculous and started causing the women of Israel to have double births. And I mean, it was probably birthing 5, 6, 7 children to Israel's one. And that is kind of how it is. That is the same phenomenon that's taking place right now with the children of Israel all over the country and in all the lands that they have been scattered into. They have separated from each other, yet they are still waking up at an alarming rate. And the pharaohs in those countries are saying to themselves, these people are multiplying at such a rapid rate, we got to find a way to stop them lest they overtake all of us. Well, there ain't no way to be stopped, because you can't stop the prophetic word, and you can't stop the purpose that the Lord had made, and you sure can't stop the promises that was made. So this leads me to want to deal with a couple of things, a couple of misguided truths. And one of the misguided truths that comes out of Christianity, or Christian doctrine that is being put in the minds of the Israelites, and that is that, well, Israel no longer exists, and the church is the new spiritual Israel. Well, let me tell you something, that is complete foolishness, because in order for the Father to fulfill the purpose that he made to Abraham, there must be a physical seed of Israel on the earth in order for that to happen. Henceforth, we'll skip over to the 31st chapter of the book of Jeremiah, verse 35, 36, and 37. And I encourage you to go to these scriptures and read, that you may lock these things in your mind and have some understanding. He said, thus says the Father, who gives the moon for light by night and the sun for light by day, who caused the waves and of the sea to obey. He said, if these ordinances shall pass away from me, then the nation of Israel will cease from being a nation before me. Well, see, those ordinances ain't passed away. And so there's no possible way that Israel could cease from being a nation. We may be separated, we may be scattered, but we are still a nation before the Most High. And one of the things the church have came in and try to thwart the purpose with is saying that, well, we the new spiritual Israel. We the new spiritual Israel. Well, that's complete foolishness, because he wasn't talking about no spiritual Israel. He was talking about a physical seed of Israel on the earth that would fulfill the prophecy of Ezekiel 37 concerning our docile state and what they did to us through slavery. He said that prophetic word is going to go out like a trumpet call, and my people are going to start to rise, and they're going to wake up, and at last end, they're going to stand up on their feet, an exceeding and a great army, which represents the whole house of Israel. Well, I don't believe that the whole house of Israel are going to be no ghosts or no invisible man or be something spiritual. He is talking about something spiritual that was to take place, which leads me to another thing, because there are many ways that scripture gets misused without understanding. And one of the things is that Israel right now is suffering We are suffering because we do not understand these things, and we are out here hurting each other and killing each other. And then you may hear in the church, well, these things are going on because the Bible say nation gonna rise against nation, and brother gonna rise against brother, and father gonna rise against. But that's not what it was talking about. It said nation shall rise against nation. And when you're talking about nation rising against nation, you are dealing with nationality. You are dealing with race. It didn't mean that the nation of Israel would rise against itself and start killing each other. It meant that all other nations would rise against Israel as Israel began to wake up, according to the promises that the Father had made to Abraham. Do you understand? You see, Ishmael rose against Isaac because of the promise. Esau rose against Jacob because of the promise. Cain rose against Abel because of the promise. And this is what it means, because each one of those individuals birthed a totally different and separate nation of people, even though they were brothers. And that's why the Bible say brothers shall rise against brothers. We talking about brothers that will fight against Israel's purpose. And right now to this day, every nation on the planet have risen against the nation of Israel. And we seem not to understand, because we are out here rising against each other, killing each other. And to all my brothers that have the different camps, we got to remember we don't have no business warring with each other because of our differences. God don't give everybody everything, but he gives everybody something. And so what he gave you might be for a specific purpose where the nation of Israel is concerned, and what he gave me might be for a specific purpose. And just because our purposes are different should not cause us to fight against each other. We have to find a way to maintain common ground that the whole nation can rise within itself, because we are to war against those that war against us. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because the Father don't give us the information so that we can rise against each other. He gives us the information so that we can be a light in the world, and then put our foot on the neck of all of those other nations, or what the Bible calls our enemies, that have sought to thwart our purpose. In the same way Pharaoh in Egypt sought to thwart the purposes of the Father, in this new spiritual Egypt, according to the book of Revelation, it is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. Sodom because of homosexuality, Egypt because the same people that built Egypt built this kingdom. They would do the same thing on a mission to slow down the rapid increase of the children of Israel's existence. And so we're waking up at an alarming rate. And so they'll do anything that they can to thwart that purpose. That's why every 6 months now you got another slave movie coming out. But we are not our forefathers. We are the generation that the Father said that he will cause in the last days to rise up and be a light in this dim world. But we must stop this foolishness of thwarting our own purpose and hurting each other. We cannot do that. We cannot do that, people. Brothers that are carrying the weight of the word, we got to quit this nonsense of fighting against this camp, that camp, the other camp. That is not what the Father had intended when he gave you an understanding of what truth was. This is why the Messiah said, look, go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. We can't educate the people that done these things to us not one bit. They know exactly who we are. They know how it happened, and they know what type of plan that they're going to put in place to try and stop it. Therefore, we must find a way to unify ourselves on every level, that the promises that the Father made to Abraham may come to pass. Jeremiah 31 and 37, it says, look, if the heaven can be measured above and the depths of the earth can be scouted out, then I will cast Israel off for all that they have done. Well, see, it don't make no difference how many sins Israel have committed, what we have done in our state of lostness, in our state of ignorance. He said, you know what? The only way I will cast my children off is if a man can go up there and measure heaven. And believe me, Esau and the rest of our enemies, because they have never been able to thwart the purpose, they will go all out. And so they have actually got up there and tried to measure heaven with the Hubble telescope and all of these things, because ain't nothing else work. And so they done got desperate. They are in the ocean trying to scour out and measure the bottom of the sea. But see, it's something down there that won't allow them. And they're only going to be able to go so far before Leviathan jump up and devour them. So they're not going to be able to measure heaven nor measure the depths of the earth. And therefore, no matter what kind of sins Israel have committed, they will not be casted off. The promises of Abraham and the prophecies of the book of Ezekiel will come to pass and are coming to pass right now. And so I just want to encourage somebody with this message. Know who you are. You are not who they said you are. Quit looking at that TV that's pumping lies out every day. It is the wrong spirit. It is the spirit of Esau who's at the helm of it, trying to constantly do things with our mind and our thinking that will change us. But I encourage everybody to get in this word, study this word, and if you find something that you benefit from these messages, we ask that you please share it with your friends and anybody out there. Everything that is posted on here is definitely challengeable, because the Father knows that we don't always see everything eye to eye, but he calls us to peace, and there is no greater thing for brothers to get together and have dialogue. He said, you know what, it's like the precious ointment on the head of Aaron that ran from his beard onto his skirts. We know that that is the spirit that is to leap and hop on each one of us, that will cause us to come out of the nonsense that we have been in. And remember this if you don't remember nothing else. Do not believe what the people had to say about you.